Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. Welcome back to Air Buccaneers. I decided to make this follow-up video because of the problems we had with the first one, and I am so annoyed with myself. Since I switched over to DxTory, it's a much better recording program for game footage than Fraps is, but it's also got a bunch of different settings, and it has a tendency of changing things around when you're not looking, because it binds itself to a per-game profile, which is nuts. So the interview and the Hyper WTF is that I did on this game didn't have any game sound, which is infuriating. So I thought I'd do a follow-up so I can give you the game sound experience and do stuff like that. It sounds like a good idea, does it not? Here is hoping that it does. Okay, so let's look at the perk system right here. It's really quite intriguing, honestly, all things considered. I need to try and actually disable some of these perks. Now, I'll keep these ones here because I don't really want to actually pilot a ship. Mostly because I imagine I would be astonishingly terrible at it. So I'm just trying to look for the perks that I've got, then deselect them, and I'm probably going to go for some kind of cannoneer stuff. Seems like a pretty good idea. So get rid of the sword, get rid of the healing, and I keep the glider perk because that seems really useful. That allows you to get back to the ships quicker. Increasing projectile damage. Increasing turn speed, yeah, let's do that. Shorter fuse. Increased projectile distance. Alright, that seems fair. Okay, let's go for that. So I'm going to jump right back into the game, and I guess I will give you my impressions right now. It seems like a fairly good idea. Should do the job, I would think.
Burn, you flying pig dogs.
Burn, you flying pig dogs. Yes. Alright, Air Buccaneers, ladies and gentlemen, let's go for it. So, I need to get aboard an airship to begin. I'm just going to get on a glider and go to the same airship that everyone else is on. That seems to make sense. The Swan of Tunula, I believe, is it? My Swedish is terrible, my Finnish is worse, so just bear that in mind, considering this game involves both. Alright, we shall man the cannons, yes. So, these are the weapons that I currently have. Gunpowder pouch is a grenade, essentially. You toss it and it explodes. Air mines can be deployed in the air. You can hit them with a rocket, but doesn't do a lot of damage. When the air mine deploys, it floats around like a hot air balloon. Alright, what have we got? We got enemy ship dead ahead. Alright, I'm gonna man this cannon, I think. Move the cannon in this general direction. Alright, what have we got? Okay, I see him. Fair enough. So let us prepare to fire the cannons. I'm not going to be able to hit him from this distance, I don't think, but I'll give it a shot anyway. As you'll notice, each of the cannons actually does have a fuse attached to it, so you have to wait for the fuse to burn down and keep your aim prior to actually firing the thing. Now, people on the deck can support you using the support staff, which will allow them to give you a boost, I believe, in reload speed and things like that. Unfortunately, it also allows them to get in the bloody way. Now, I believe there are certain classes that have stuff like Defender's muskets that can be used to actually fire directly at them. There we go. Now, you might notice some weird stuff like loading cannonballs. In the alpha, you had to manually load the cannonballs into the barrel of the actual cannon itself. You don't have to do that anymore, so a lot of these voice commands are kind of legacy from the alpha version because they're in this weird transitionary period at the moment between... Oh, I can actually change my types of ammunition. Interesting. There we go. I think by the looks of it, I could actually fire some air mines. Okay, alright. Oh, are those rockets? Alright, fair enough. So, that's what's going to happen with those. And I believe there's also the flamethrower there as well. So, that's not really going to help anything, especially considering I'm aiming in the general direction of a friendly. So, let's not do that. Seems like a bad idea. Let's try and load something useful. Oh, we're going to crash right into that, aren't we? This is not going to go well. Absolutely not. That's a friendly ship, damn it. So, I tell you what I really love about this game. I love the fact that it reminds me of the old Battlefield 1942 mod. I think it was Age of Piracy. And, was it Age of Piracy? Maybe it was, yeah. It was something like that, anyway. And in that game, you were captaining a tall ship. or you were firing cannons from a ship that was boarding and things like that. This has a very similar idea, and it's got this really nice co-op system. And it's one of the few games that accepts that each individual player's role is not necessarily going to be equal, and that's actually a real problem that games currently have, I feel. Because they insist on making every player's role equal, they end up in a situation where co-op isn't really all that great. Now, I actually kind of like being able to be part of a crew on a tall ship. I would love that idea in a space simulator. There were certain games that did that. I believe Allegiance did that a long, long time ago. It had some interesting ideas in regards to how that was supposed to work. What have we got?
Enemy ship at 10 o'clock. Level.
Okay, so let's head over in that general direction. Now, there aren't all that many games that really pull that off, so that's definitely a unique aspect to the title that I feel is worthy of attention. The counter-argument to that, of course, is that some people will just end up getting bored with the very limited roles that the game actually has to offer. It's like, oh, I'm standing on a cannon all the time? Well, that's not all that interesting. Well, in my opinion, it really, really is. You know, I love that idea because you are working together as part of a team, and the game has this auto call-out system when, say, you spot a ship like this, then you right-click. It'll tell you exactly where it is. Okay, so we've got guys on the cannons at the moment. I'm going to support him with my support staff. There we go, so that's going to actually buff up his cannon speed. I'd quite like to be using the cannon because I have a number of perks that would allow me to do that, but that is the nature of the beast. I might end up manning the other cannon at some point. Rocket's heading in his general direction. Let's fire an air mine directly in front of him. There we go. Let's get a couple of air mines over there. Now, air mines might end up forcing him to change direction. Air mines are being fired. There we go. So there's now air mines floating all over the place near his ship. I'm just hoping that some of them actually hit him. I don't think we've taken any hits as of yet, but if you move to the bow of the ship, which would be this, I believe, then you should be able to repair the ship if it's actually taking any damage. Currently, I don't think it has. Ooh, wow, that ship is taking an absolute pounding. Looks like that's going down. Very, very nice. Now, I do like the idea that you can also board enemy ships. That's a really cool thing. I think the smaller ships are much, much better for that because they have the speed and maneuverability to actually get alongside the ship, and then you can just jump on and chop the enemy soldiers, or I suppose sailors. And which would you call them? I mean, you're in the sky. Do you call them airmen? Do you call them sailors? I have no idea. But then you can just chop them to pieces. I've got to say the melee combat system is not exactly great, and it's currently got the same animation for every strike. There is the ability to block enemy hits as well. So it's not like there isn't at least a little bit of nuance to the melee combat system, but at the moment it's just horrendously basic, and I guess that's just not really a priority of the game. It would be nice to see them enhance that a little bit. Oh, that sounded like that was a hit to us, so let's try and fix up the ship. The ship doesn't appear to have any kind of health bar. All it indicates is, yes, I am actually fixing it right now. So there we go. We're keeping the ship in the air, which I suppose is the most important thing. Alright, what have we got? It's currently on the other side of the ship. Excellent. That's another one down with a cannonball. I think the game's really got a ton of potential. It's a good-looking game. It has some optimization problems. When you turn it up to maximum graphical detail, it really does tank the frame rate heavily. And it's a good-looking game, but I don't think it's that good-looking. I mean, this is actually a Unity game, if you can believe that. It's an astonishingly good-looking Unity game. I think that that engine doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for being able to produce some really awesome stuff. I think maybe because the early titles available on Unity were, for the most part, a bunch of web-based games, so they didn't really quite look as good as you would expect, but now the Unity engine's being used to create all manner of really awesome stuff. Okay, enemy ship 10 o'clock. Let's support our cannoneer and make sure he's got a more rapid fire ability. For some reason, you can only seem to do that in a particular position, and that it just won't work otherwise. I don't know, maybe if you can only have one person supporting each cannoneer, maybe that's why. That could be it, but yeah, I mean, the game doesn't do a great job of informing you at the moment where you need to be in order to use your support staff and things like that. It says, hey, you know, go to the bow, but there's only a specific part of the bow that allows you to repair, and yeah, so I think I would like to see them just tighten that one up a little bit. As I say, it really does have the feel and vestiges of an alpha, but when it comes down to original ideas and stuff that you really don't see an awful lot of, well, as pointed out in the interview, you're not going to end up seeing an awful lot of games like this. There just aren't all that many games that are based around multi-crewed ship combat. And that's a crying shame, because there's some absolutely fantastic ideas that could be implemented then, and I would love to see more space games that actually allowed for this. I think we're currently absolutely smashing everything at the moment. Enemy ship coming in our general direction. Let's deploy another air mine in the direction that it happens to be going in. It's actually maybe getting close enough for me to throw some gunpowder pouches at it. I'll try and toss one in its general direction. Oh, there it goes. Well, I guess that might have hit, but it's going down anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Now, hopefully they can get a few more game modes into it. They do have Domination and Team Deathmatch, which, you know, is kind of par for the course, really. I think that's standard. If you don't have that in your game, then you're probably doing something wrong. I really do like the blocker system, the fact that you can actually fire what is essentially anti-aircraft fire against cannons. That is a wonderful thing indeed. That's absolutely awesome. So, I think this game's got a hell of a lot of potential. It really does. It is looking great at the moment. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play, and I think there's all sorts of great possibilities for LAN play and just play with friends and awesome team stuff to actually go on within this particular game. There aren't enough genuine co-op games out there. There are some games that, yeah, you know, they say, oh, I've got a co-op mode, but this game requires co-op. Like, there's no way this game could possibly work without the co-op system, which to me makes it truly unique in the marketplace at the moment, and something that I think needs to be emulated a great deal in future titles. I'm looking forward to seeing what this game's got to offer, as well as, of course, Guns of Icarus Online, which is also coming in this general direction. That I think is a game that I also have access to, so I should be able to show you that, maybe do a little bit of a comparison between the two. One way or the other, as I said, the game is really promising. It is still in alpha, technically. It's about to be in beta, so it does still have quite a few warts, to say the least. But it is a game that I think you should probably be looking at if you're looking for a really cool cooperative experience. So here's hoping that we find more games like that. Hopefully some tall ships, maybe some spaceships. I think that's pretty much about it, isn't it? That's all you can really do with it. But yeah, have a look for this game, folks. It is really kind of awesome. It's got some great ideas behind it, and I think there's a lot of potential for some multiplayer tomfoolery, as well as, of course, swashbuckling in the high skies. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit with this quick follow-up video on the subject of Air Buccaneers HD. If you haven't already seen the interview, I would recommend that, because there's a great deal more footage there, including boarding different kinds of ships, and of course the opinion of the CEO of the company, who's showing off all aspects of this particular title. Once again, my apologies for not including the game sound in that video. That was a technical error on my part, and I'll try to make sure that does not happen again in future. I'll see you next time.